Hey, Jim Remley here with eRealEstateCoach.com. I got some numbers for you this morning that are going to impact how we all sell real estate over the next few years. And the numbers center on a huge part of the industry, the real estate industry. The NAR studies the market, of course, and they do a monthly study of where buyers are coming from, what kind of buyers are purchasing homes. And interesting enough, first-time home buyers accounted for 32% of sales in their most recent study. That's been very consistent. So 1/3 of the buyers in the marketplace are first-time home buyers. And probably most of them are millennials. And so we've always talked about in the industry of the baby boomer generation being that tidal wave through history impacting everything they touch. But guess what? The millennial generation is actually bigger than the baby boom generation, and they are just now starting to hit the years where they're buying homes and even selling their first home. So it's an interesting time in history where you're starting to see the baby boom generation fade off and the millennial generation just gaining steam. So this is a great market for us. But what's interesting is when you talk to people that are maybe renting now, and most of the renters are millennials, 49% of renters believe that they need a 20% down payment to buy a house. If you think about an average priced house in America, at let's say $250,000, that means they believe they have to have $50,000 in the bank. And most people just don't have that kind of money. But what's the reality? Here's the reality. Last year, the median down payment across the country of all prices was 5% down. What a delta, what a difference in those two numbers. And so for us, we need to educate renters and millennials about what it actually takes to buy a house, because they actually do want to buy. They have an interest in buying, and they know that their rents are probably going to go up. Here's a study that shows how frequently do you think rents will increase? And renters believe they're going to increase 42% of the time every year. They think they're going to go up 27% of the time every other year, 19% of the time 3 to 5 years. So they know rents are going to continue rising. So a lot of them believe and understand that they should be buying a home so they can lock in a payment and they don't have to worry about it increasing over time. In fact, here's a study that shows, and it's good news for us, that millennials actually have a high value on home ownership. They asked them, what's the most important thing for you to do in your life? 80% said being able to retire is something that they were really focused on. But right behind that, 72% of them said owning a home, huge life priority. What's interesting to me is that was even above getting married and having children and traveling the world. So when you look at that, they want to buy a home, huge priority, and we can take advantage of that if we just do a little bit of education with them. So when do you plan to buy? When they ask renters and millennials, when do you plan to buy? This is a massive number for us, and we should all be paying attention. In the next 2 years, 38% plan to buy. Over the next 3 to 5 years, 36% plan to buy. In the next 6 years, 16% plan to buy. So a huge group of people are on track for jumping into the market very, very soon. So when we get asked the question, why should I buy a house? When we're talking to a millennial, we're encouraging them to make that leap into home ownership. Do we know 5 reasons why somebody should buy a house? I'm going to give you 5 right now. Number 1 is appreciation. If you buy a property, just to give you an example, and it's $200,000, you buy a $200,000 home, and it appreciates to $220,000, in your mind you might think, well, yeah, that's a nice 10% increase in value, nice 10% return on your money, but that's actually not true, because most people put less than 100% down. In fact, as we saw, most people put 5% down, but let's assume they put 10% down. If they put 10% down on this $200,000 home, they've invested $20,000. If the property goes up in value to $220,000, how much return have they made? They've made 100% return. They've made $20,000 on their $20,000 investment. That's why real estate is such a beautiful thing for young people entering the market. They can do so many things. Number 2 is leverage. Leverage allows us to get those large returns. Real estate is one of the easiest assets to leverage, and we can do it with super low, historically low interest rates right now. 3rd is paying off the debt. Every time we make a payment on our mortgage, a part of that payment, most of it goes to interest, true, but a part of it goes to principal. That principal reduction, when I go to sell the house, goes back into my pocket. So that's another way that homeowners are making money every time they make a payment. Imagine, though, that they're making a payment on a rental. Whose payment are they making? Guess what? They're making the landlord's payment, and he or she gets to keep that money when that property sells. So they don't want to do that. They want to be homeowners. Fourth is sweat equity, or sometimes called forced equity. That's when we improve a property. When we improve the home, we get the benefit of that when we go to sell it, because now the home will probably sell for more money. And fifth, and what's often overlooked, is the tax benefits. Huge tax benefits from home ownership. We still have the mortgage interest deduction, which the National Association of Realtors continues to fight for us to keep. Also, points that are paid during a purchase, that's a tax write-off. Real estate taxes up to $10,000 are still allowed even under the new tax laws. Home improvements and energy credits can be huge depending on the state that you live in. And tax-free profits on sale. People forget that when you go to sell your home and you make a profit, if you're a married couple, you get to take $500,000 in profits tax-free. And if you're a single person, it's $250,000 tax-free. What an amazing tax advantage for us. So, time for us to get out there and talk to millennials, talk to renters, and encourage them with these 5 reasons why they should be buying a home, to get in the market and get excited about home ownership. Have a great day and good selling. We'll see you next time at eRealEstateCoach.com.